Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 1st of May, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar index. The dollar rising just a little bit more yesterday, just steadily marching up this hill, and we're seeing that recovery really in train. So the recovery is very much underway. Dollar strength is probably one of the main themes in markets at the moment, and that means euro weakness. We're seeing the euro fall against the dollar. This daily chart now really confirming the move below the cloud. So that's the big change in forex at the moment, is the new signs of dollar strength, and we're starting to see that happening on the Japanese yen as well, just about to break the cloud, and sterling weakening against that stronger dollar. So we're seeing downside there for sterling. Sterling plummeted against the weaker euro last week, but just recovered a little bit yesterday. We're seeing a weaker euro, and against the Swiss franc a little bit of recovery as well, and against the Aussie dollar just bouncing off the bottom there. Bitcoin fell quite sharply overnight. We're down now to nearly 3%, putting us back into bearish territory on the short-term chart, struggling on the lagging line to get through the cloud. So Bitcoin is bearish, medium and short terms. See the downside target here given and met. We do have another downside target here, 7,500, not yet activated. Same here. So we need to just watch for those targets on Bitcoin if you're trading Bitcoin. The US market was up very slightly overnight. We saw the S&P up 0.25%. The Nasdaq also was up just very slightly, about 0.25% as well. This is not enough to take these markets back into bullish territory on the short-term charts. We see the Dow Jones index here. In fact, the Dow Jones over the past month, as we're into a new month, for April, the Dow Jones was up just 0.25% for the month. So barely changed over the month. Even though we've seen this sharp recovery a month ago, we're pretty flat. So the market's not yet out of the woods by any means. And the Russell 2000, the broader based US index, was up just under 0.25% as well, but still bearish in the short term, having turned bearish, and the Russell 2000 really held its position for some time. Looking at the futures market, the S&P future up very slightly, probably not enough. And the same with the Nasdaq E-mini, up 0.1%, probably not enough for us to call which way the market's going to open today. FTSE 100 index back into medium-term bullish territory and short-term bullish, and the long term is bullish. So ironically, the UK market's looking probably better now than the US market, just purely on the basis that it's back into bullish territory on all three trends. The FTSE 250 also similarly bullish above the cloud now, and the DAX has lagged the UK market, but just got back above on the short-term chart. Still has some work to do on the medium-term chart. So the DAX is the European market that's lagging at the moment, and the CAC 40 looking very strong indeed, pushing towards a new all-time high for the French market. So looking stronger than most markets. Japan, very little changed overnight, just down very slightly. Still not medium-term bullish below the cloud there on the chart. The Hang Seng, much the same picture. We're just bearish below the cloud, but bullish on the short-term chart. And the Chinese market still continuing to worry on the charts in terms of its inability to recover. So short-term bearish, and the long-term chart starting to look quite worrying. The Sensex looking stronger, bullish above the cloud on all three time frames now, and the Australian market also looking stronger, having recovered through the medium-term cloud. Brent crude this morning is looking strong, still holding on to its bullish position at around 74.61, just below that 75 level, and the longer term charts looking very bullish indeed. BP out with very strong results this morning on this higher oil price, and WTI also just sitting above the cloud there. So maintaining the bullish position even though we're just falling slightly this morning. US nat gas sitting at that $2.78 level, barely changed. So little change there, and still bearish on the short-term chart. Gold falling further on that stronger US dollar, and so we do have some downside targets in the short term. But we are still holding the bullish position. And gold tends to go up in the middle bit of the year, so we're just waiting for that seasonality to kick in. And at the moment, we're seeing that range between 1300 and 1350, and we're very much stuck in that. But we are in a short-term bearish with downside targets, so we need to keep an eye on that. The 1 minute charts, if you're trading gold, quite valuable here, and we've got targets to 1293, 1283, so it does look like a fall through 1300. Of course, if we don't get through the 1300 level, then that's bullish confirmation that we haven't reached the targets. We've got those bigger trends fighting us as well. Silver also looking bearish below the cloud in the short term, and the medium and long term charts not looking as strong as gold. US 10-year yields sitting at 2.96%, back below the 3% level, but only just, and not pulling back very sharply. German bond yields, German bonds, sorry, the bond price, not the yield, just rising slightly on that re-rating, but really looking bearish in the medium and long term charts. Apple is been one of the worries in tech. Very little changed yesterday, and really showing a relative weakness here, just running out of steam. If we look at Amazon, Amazon has been really the star performer of the tech majors, up again slightly, pushing for a new all-time high. Google, again, along with Apple, just been a little bit disconcerting, below the cloud on the medium and long-term chart, medium and short-term charts, so not looking as strong as Amazon by any stretch. Facebook also coming back, having jumped on results last week, and Microsoft just still holding its bullish position, but just turning a little bit weaker on that short-term chart yesterday. So we are just seeing tech struggling to rebuild the trend, and that is probably the biggest worry for us in the market at the moment. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.